You know, for most people in retail, just hearing the word returns probably brings up feelings of, headaches, costs, lost sales. But what if that's completely the wrong way to look at it? What if one of retail's biggest problems is actually its most powerful and often totally hidden opportunity? Let's dig into that.
Okay, to really get a sense of the stakes here, we have to start with this number, $850 billion. That is the value of stuff returned every single year just in the US. I mean, it's a staggering figure. And most companies, they look at that and just see a massive, unavoidable loss. But what if it's not a loss? What if it's a signal?
And this is the core mindset shift we're going to unpack. The old way of thinking, right over there on the left, it sees returns as just a cost, something you have to minimize. But the new strategic way of thinking, on the right, sees every single one of those returns as incredibly valuable feedback. It's a direct message from your customer, telling you exactly where you missed their expectations.
So, here's our game plan. We're going to start by digging into that $850 billion blind spot and really getting into this new mindset. Then, we'll break down the 3 core pillars: how to actually reduce returns, how to profit from the ones that still happen, and, this is a big one, how to use them to delight customers. And finally, we'll see how it all clicks together in this really powerful, virtuous cycle.
Right, so that massive blind spot. Look, most retailers know exactly what returns cost them, but very few understand what those returns can teach them. Think about it. Behind every single one of those returned packages, there's a story. A story about product quality, about fulfillment, about a customer's real-world experience. It's literally the most honest feedback loop in business, and most companies are just not listening.
This is where that new mindset really starts to matter. If returns are just an annoying byproduct to doing business, well, then you're just losing money. It's a logistical nightmare. But if you start treating the return as an experience for your customer, you get this amazing chance to build trust. And if you treat it as feedback, you get the crucial insights you need to make your whole business better.
So let's jump into the first pillar. And honestly, this one is probably the most powerful: reduce. Now, to be super clear, this isn't about making returns difficult for people. Not at all. It's about the hidden art of prevention, about fixing the problems that cause returns to happen in the first place.
I mean, this quote just nails it, doesn't it? The real goal isn't just to get better at processing returns, it's to create fewer of them to begin with. Every single return you prevent is pure profit, and it's a sign of a much healthier business with way happier customers.
Here's a really powerful way to reframe this whole thing. Instead of thinking of a return as a customer changing their mind, think of it as a retail defect. Now, that term comes from manufacturing, where a defect is a failure to meet quality standards. Well, in retail, a return is exactly that. It's a failure to meet a customer's expectation. That tiny shift in perspective can literally change everything.
So this is all about playing detective, separating the symptom from the root cause. You know those return reason codes you see? Too big, arrived late, not as described. Those are just the symptoms. The real gold is finding the why. Was the item too big because your sizing is inconsistent from one factory to another? Did it arrive late because of an unrealistic delivery promise on your website? That's the root cause you got to dig up and fix. So, how do you actually tackle those root causes? Well, it really comes down to the details. You make sure your sizing is consistent across the board. You improve your product info. Better photos, better descriptions, so there are no surprises. You absolutely nail your fulfillment, so you hit your delivery promises. And you make your policies crystal clear. It's not flashy, but this is the methodical work that makes a huge difference. Okay, so you're never going to eliminate returns completely, right? That's just not realistic. So what happens when an item does come back? Well, that brings us to pillar 2, profit. This is all about turning that return process from a money-losing cost center into a value-generating engine. You basically got 3 main moves you can make here to create value. First, encourage an exchange. That keeps the customer and the revenue. Second, you can offer merchandise credit. This keeps the sale in-house, and you know what? Customers often end up spending even more. And third, you can use the return as a chance to re-engage, a perfect moment for a personalized recommendation or a special offer.
The key insight here is to stop seeing a return as the end of the story. It's not. It's a brand new decision point. It's like a second chance to make a sale. It's your opportunity to recover that revenue, strengthen the relationship, and protect your brand's reputation all at once.
And that brings us to our final pillar, which is all about the human element. Delight. This is where you take a process that people dread and transform it into a memorable, loyalty-building experience. Get this, a staggering 84% of shoppers say they will not buy from a retailer again after just one bad returns experience. One! You don't just lose that one sale, you can lose that customer forever. Getting this part wrong is just incredibly expensive.
But here's the flip side. That high stake creates an amazing opportunity. Think about it. Most customers expect the returns process to be a pain. Their expectations are already on the floor, and that gives you this huge opening to completely surprise them. When you deliver a smooth, easy, friendly experience where they were expecting friction, you don't just solve a problem, you create a loyal fan.
So now we can see how this all connects. It forms a virtuous cycle. These three pillars, reduce, profit, and delight, they don't just exist on their own. They actually feed into and reinforce each other, creating this powerful engine for continuous improvement.
So take a look at this maturity model and just think for a second about where your organization fits. Are you in that reactive stage where returns are just a cost and the attitude is basically, it is what it is? Or maybe you're aware, you're starting to track the data. The goal is to get to integrated, where you're using that data to fix what's broken, and ultimately to be strategic, where you genuinely see returns as a source of competitive advantage.
And this is what that virtuous cycle looks like when it's really humming. When all three pillars are working together, the benefits just start to compound. You get less waste in the system, you get greater profit on your bottom line, you get way stronger customer loyalty, and all of that generates more insight, which then helps you reduce even more returns, and the cycle just keeps going.
You know, if there's one big takeaway from all of this, it's this. When you handle them with real strategic intention, a return isn't the disappointing end of a sale. It's actually the continuation of your relationship with that customer.
So the final question is really for you. Is your business still stuck in that old way of thinking, treating returns as just another cost to minimize? Or are you ready to see them for what they are, a critical capability to master? Honestly, that choice could define your future success.